Welcome to another SPbN production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, calling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing Gaia of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the world's forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Fuck never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network. St. Petersburg by Night is a World of Darkness role-playing community originating in St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Mishikent on all social media, and I will be your storyteller tonight. It's Friday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Hounds, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicles set in Tampa Bay, Florida, where a pack of young guru have traveled from Michigan to assist the Sept of the Evening Star in combating the forces of the worm, both physical and spiritual. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media listed in the description down below, and you can join our community by following that Discord link where you could take part in one of the many activities we have running all month long. We are now offering for players to run or play in 20th anniversary or Chronicles of Darkness games as well, so head on over and join our community today. Now let's introduce our players. Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves if you please.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki and I'll be playing Delphine Gaia Speaker, the Silent Strider Theurge.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jay, and you should throw a freaking beach party. And I'll be playing Forge from Failures, the Bonar Rune.
Okay, I'm Navers, and I play the local horse girl, Quinn Kelly, the Ragabash Children of Gaia.
Hey everyone, my name is Ben, and I'll be playing Raymond Gorn, the Ghost Council of Philodox.
Howdy, hello, Internet. Second time seeing you this week. That's kind of weird. My name is Echo, and I will be playing for you this lovely day for your viewing entertainment. Willow Wisp, the Galliard of the Children of Gaia.
You can get most of the references people make in their introductions, but Jay, I'm going to assume that's an anime thing or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, let's get everybody caught up as to where we are now. Last week, we saw our dear Forged and Stakes Her Claim head up to Georgia to rehome Cooper with a lovely, lovely Ghislaine family provided by the Sept of the Fertile Soil. It was a heart-wrenching and heartbreaking separation between the two. But Ford, of course, made the very mature and adult decision to make sure Cooper could have the best chance at a childhood possible. We then saw Ray and Eliza enact the rite of binding as Ray continues his training as a Bane tender and successfully bound his first Bane. So much so to the point that the Bane will be bound for eons until released by choice by Raymond, if that ever occurs. Ray was also gifted a pair of aura shades made by Eliza to help him see into the Umbra to further assist in his Bane tending duties. We then saw Delphine and Charles have a check-in and a catch-up where Delphine expressed some of her concerns about the things that have been going on, and Charles relayed to her that very soon she would have to stand on her own 2 feet, as it's likely Charles would have to go up to Vermont to confront his grandfather and deal with all of the business up there. After the break, we saw Willow and Stakes have a bit of a lupus-born heart-to-heart, where Willow learned that it was okay to be a confident lupus-born and not to understand fully the intricacies of human emotions, aka stupid human feelings, and that they should speak their mind. But of course, everything comes with a limit, and sometimes overindulgence can be a problem, as we saw later when the pack gathered together at the cairn. But before that, we saw Quinn meet Jordan for the first time as Jordan came over to the new cairn site to start working on the generator and answered some of his questions, avoided some others. But they had a very lovely conversation, which led to the pack gathering at the cigar factory to talk about their intentions moving forward, as well as plans for Juniper's memorial. So let's get into our story this week as Willow seeks out the stories of Juniper Camine and guidance from a fellow Galliard. Our story begins at the cairn of the Sept of the Evening Star. Now, in the past couple of weeks, this place has grown so much more fertile, so much more vibrant in its appearance. The grass is thick and growing in firm, comfortable patches. The weeds seem to have pulled back and dispersed. What was once a barren clearing has now become full of life, as even the buds of flowers can be seen growing around the base of the large rocky outcropping that seemed to have appeared overnight. The rocky outcropping being the representation of Turtle, the new patron spirit that has been returned from the dreaming. The place has a much more peaceful feel to it, even more so than before, which was pretty peaceful to begin with. And now, more than ever, spirits can occasionally be seen drifting through the cairn itself, seemingly less bound into their spiritual guardian places. This is where we find the young lupus-born Will-O-Wisp and the elder Galliard, malicious jester, preparing to have a conversation as Willow is in need of some important information and maybe a little bit of guidance. The scene is yours.
Jester is sitting at the table, one of the random seats, not even her own. Kind of just while she's waiting for Willow, watching the spirits just move about with a smile on her face. She's enjoying just watching them interact and move.
Willow will not test their luck this time and just sort of approach, sort of like, hello, hi, you're looking at stuff, am I interrupting you?
Jester will smile at her. Not at all. Come, sit. Wherever you want.
So Willow, as you approach the hand-carved wooden table that sits beneath the massive tree where hangs a large clave, almost ornamental in its positioning, you find one of the seats, and at random, you pick. the seat of the worm foe, unknowing the glyph that is etched upon the table in front of you.
I'll just smirk at that slightly.
I hear that you were Juniper's tribe sister, and I have the great honor of putting together
The story.
Like, if there's any stuff you wanted to, like, have me say for her, or, like, any story stuff, any good moments, things like that.
Yeah. I'd be happy to help you. I wanted to talk to you anyways about, well, Galliard stuff. So, which do you want to start with?
I mean, I'm probably very behind on the Galliard stuff. I haven't had any training where that's concerned. So that would probably be a good-ish place to start. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you know? What have you been told about being a Galliard?
Well, we are supposed to be beacons of light and of joy, and we sing the songs, and we know the history. I still need to learn. Mostly that we are song makers and speakers of truth and stuff.
Okay. Some of that is sort of true, I suppose. All right. Would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I want you to take everything you've been told of what Galliards is supposed to be, and I want you to bury it somewhere in your mind. We'll go dig that up later, once, you get the basics down.
Oh, okay. Sure, that sounds good to me.
Okay. We are the singers of the songs and the storytellers, and yes, the keepers of the history of our people. It is an oral history, but we're a lot more than that. Like, we're not just here to bring joy and happy songs. We also sing and tell the sad tales. A lot of our history is sad, honestly. So, we are those things, but we're a lot more. We're not just inspiration and history keepers. We also make sure that, like, the litany is abided by. We allow our fellow Garu ancestors to live on after their deaths. I kind of believe, since we are part spirit, when we die, the part that spirit gets to live on in the Umbra because of the stories we tell. And if those stories were to be forgotten, I think that those Garu would fade and die permanently. So, in a way, we keep our people alive in a way. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, I think I get that. That makes sense to me. Cause we are both things, so we need to be able to, like, prepare those and stuff and make sure people know about who have passed. But yeah, I get that. That's important. That seems important and good. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like, we're teachers because we use history to help teach those around us some of the mistakes our people made in the past, or the victories they had, or what they faced and the evil they faced. So we're a lot of things that people just break down to we're the storytellers. They really oversimplify it. But if you want to go simple, yes, we're the storytellers.
Willow sort of narrows their eyes and is like, more people not saying the full thing. Okay, if I need to know the information, why are people not giving me all of the information? I feel like I should have all of the information.
That could be many reasons. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't think of it like that. Maybe they feel like if they give you all the information at once, it'll be too much at that time. And you'll just feel confused and overwhelmed or pressured. Sometimes the information can be a lot, especially when you try to figure out what a thing even is. She'll stare off for a moment. There's a lot in the world that all of us didn't know existed, and even to me, there are new things that are coming up that are a lot.
Yeah, the world is a lot bigger than I was aware of,
We feel it too, the Hamids. Maybe not as much as you guys, because I'm sure it's a lot. How are you feeling about everything?
Oof. I mean, it's complicated. I am done with the complicated. I would like to be done with the complicated. I know I can't be done with the complicated because people are complicated and they've got all those feelings and things. And it's distracting and it makes things more complicated when there could just be very simple answers to things if people just didn't have all of the feelings and stuff that clouds like the brain thoughts.
Yeah, it gets a lot. Honestly,
No.
sometimes I will, if it's a lot and really complicated, I'll just spend some time in lupus because it's just less that way.
It's less and better and better and less.
Would you like
But-
my advice on that? On the overcomplications instead of taking the simpler ways?
They sort of narrow their eyes as like cock their head a little bit. Okay. Sure.
Say the simple things out loud. Say the simple ideas out loud. If they're overcomplicating it, they may not have thought of the simple way. And that's how you can use your voice. Because maybe the simple way is the better way. And they're just not thinking about it.
Yeah, because they get all stuck in all that human brain stuff. There's so much of it.
There's a
People
lot.
get so distracted by it. Yeah, the simple thing. I can see the simple thing. There's no reason for it to be complicated. People just need to chill out. Because fuck that shit.
Sometimes, yeah.
But okay, then if we are more than just storytellers, because we gotta preserve all of this stuff and stuff. How do you go about it? Because like, I don't really know how I should go about it. Steak said I should just howl it out, and then Izzy's like, try and blend a few things. I'm like, I don't even know where to start, so.
Well, mine is definitely set for me. I would say I I usually sometimes I sing songs, sometimes I'll tell tales in public that I write. A lot of it at this point I've been recording videos on the phones. I know you don't really use phones, but
Oh, wait, like the TikTok. I know what the TikTok is. Quinn lets me and Delphine both
yeah,
do the TikToks.
a bit like that. I don't actually put them on TikTok because, the veil, but I record videos so that, if I pass on, my stories aren't lost. We're trying to create a more permanent record because a lot of our stories, since they were orally passed, have been lost. But for you, I would say try out different things and find what fits and works best for you. We all have our own ways of telling stories. All the Galliards do it different ways, whatever fits best, whatever is their style. I'd say try out different things and see what you like. You might be surprised.
Well, for the funeral, I have put together words, and then I am putting together a howl because I want everyone to be able to participate. And I know Stakes was really close with Juniper, so she should get her own special bit because they had a relationship that was important. And then everyone else gets the words version.
I think that's nice. I think it's very nice to include stakes in that. I have a bit of the story to add to it if you'd like.
Yes, please. Yes.
Did you have questions you wanted me to answer or just give you the story?
Well, forgive me, but to assume, I thought the Galliard would want to spin a tale properly.
She'll grin. That was a good assumption.
Okay, good.
When Juniper came here, she was pretty sad. Pretty withdrawn. A lot had happened to her in her past. She'd lost her family. And I tried to become closer to her because we found out that we weren't just tribe sisters, but we were actually sisters. We had the same dad. I just never knew him. She was really troubled by a lot of things that had happened in the past and angry. It's kind of our tribe thing to be angry. So it's not really a surprise. But she was able to overcome that anger, I think, with guidance from her pack and stakes. And in the end, she redeemed herself, and not, I think, in the way people are assuming. She'll stop and take a deep breath.
Willow will sort of look at you like, go on.
She gave her life for Forged, but how it happened was that Forged had died in the fight with the Black Spiral Dancers, including his brother. And she made a deal with the spirit. For his life, she would trade hers as long as he was able to escape with his child. And that spirit empowered her to fight off the rest of them, but she burned that fire within her completely. And so she sacrificed herself for the family and the hope of another, because family was always most important to Juniper.
That's tragic. That's like super duper sad.
Yeah, but it's also we sacrifice ourselves a lot, Garu, and sometimes I feel like it's unnecessary or not, or in vain. But I feel like Juniper's sacrifice was everything worth sacrificing yourself as a Garu for. So it is tragic and sad, but there's hope for Cooper and Forged now. So it's kind of sad and hopeful at the same time. We actually have a word for it. It's called bittersweet, where things can be sweet and wonderful, but also painful at the same time.
Oh, like chocolate chips.
Yes, like chocolate chips.
I like chocolate chips. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I like that. Bittersweet. Okay. Well, that is good. I think I can put together words from there. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've got words. I think I have words. Yeah, yeah, okay.
Good. Glad to help. And we should probably meet up more. Continue the Galliard lessons.
Yes, I probably need them. There's a lot to learn. There's like so much to learn. And there's not enough time, I'm realizing.
Yeah. There's not.
But if there's one more thing you could tell me about, because I'm trying to learn about the different tribes, because I did not get a ton of, like, I know the basics, but if I'm going to be telling the stories, I need to know the details, right? So like, tell me a little bit about like your patron and stuff.
So my patron has many stories, but the most known is probably the story of Medusa. There was once a priestess to a big spirit, we can call it. Like a huge spirit, kind of like not quite Gaia, but maybe just below Gaia, if you think about it, right? She was a priestess to the spirit, and one day this other spirit, a man named Poseidon, decided he wanted to take this priestess and do terrible things to her. And she called out to her goddess, as it was called, this other spirit she worshipped. And that spirit turned her into a snake-like creature with snakes for hair. There's lots of arguments about what it would be, but we'll just call it, she did it as a form of protection so that those terrible things would never happen to that priestess again. My patron is called Gorgon, and we fight injustice in the world, such as the injustice that happened to that priestess.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
I thought snakes were of the worm.
Snakes are just snakes. They can be dangerous, but so can we. Not all snakes are of the worm. And at one time, some of the ones that were probably serving their purpose.
Okay. Not all snakes. Okay. I thought all snakes were bad. I've killed a lot of snakes. It's probably fine. That's probably fine. Okay. Okay. That's good. That's a good story. I like that story. I can retell that story. I need more stories about unicorn. But I did just get one. Okay, so that story. I have a story now. Yay! I need to start collecting more stories. So that's where I'm at with that. But yes, that's what I needed from that. Good. Yay. Okay. Good.
Glad to help. I'm sure you'll do a wonderful job.
I'll admit I'm a little nervous, but gotta be the light.
You don't always have to be the light,
They will narrow their eyes at that, like, what? No, yes I do. That's the point. Is gotta be the light. Ember said it gotta be the light, because I am, and I should not dim it for anything or anyone.
That's Ember's opinion. Ember's a spirit, though. She's not wolf or human.
But like, she's of Gaia. She's the light of Gaia. So we should listen to the light of Gaia, right? Like, that's.
I think you should take her words into consideration. I think you should listen and you should hear them, but sometimes her beliefs or what she wants you to do may not be great for what the rest of the world sees it. Spirits all have their own opinions and thoughts on how things should be. Sometimes they clash with each other. Sometimes they clash with what you believe. I guess I'm saying, listen to what everybody says, hear what they say, but form your own opinion. And be respectful, of course. Like, don't just tell them off, but listen but form your own opinion on what you think is right.
They look deeply confused. Head cocked to the side, eyes narrow, just like has fully lost the plot here.
Sometimes we're not needed as the light. We're needed as the comfort, or even to be sad, or to be angry. Doesn't mean, we have to be happy and cheery all the time and only provide hopeful, light things. Well, probably should always provide hope because things are dark enough, but I'm rambling. Sorry.
No,
This
no,
is
no,
kinda
no.
new to me.
No, you're good. You are good. No, words are good, and we are the word people. We should be saying the words. We should be saying most words, in fact. Stakes had talked to me about that, and that is a lot of me having to get around the idea that I need to bite more, because I had lost my bite for an extremely long time. So I've gotten better at biting back more, and I think I'm doing pretty good at some of the human stuff, but Steak says I shouldn't try so hard at the human stuff because I'm not human and stuff. So putting myself in that box is not good. So I can still learn some of the stuff, but I don't need to do all of the stuff like all of the time. Like with the angry and the feelings and the stuff. I don't need to do all that. I don't want to do all that. That's a lot of effort and work, and no, don't need it. So I'm just gonna, being the light is more just like I want to be warm and healing and helpful. It doesn't mean I want to be happy all the time.
Okay. Just also make sure that you have someone there that can be that for you. Because if you're going to be warm and healing and helpful, it's a lot. And it makes you very tired.
It is, and it can be. And I thought I did. And I kind of do, but the people have changed in the slots that they were in, and it's very confusing. And again, it's all of that emotion shit. It's fucking annoying, and when I came here, I had a very clear set of, like, these are the people who are safe and good and stuff. And now I'm just all turned around, and I don't know what to do about any of that.
You still have Quinn, right?
I want to say yes, but he's been weird lately.
Kind of new to him too, this whole place. We don't do things like where he's from. And so he's thrown out of his territory pretty much. And is trying to figure things out too, so it's a lot for him too, maybe. And it might make him act weird.
Yeah, it's been a lot of quiet treatments and a lot of, wait, let me try and apologize, and then act weird later. And it's a whole mixture of more human stuff.
Yeah. It's a lot, and it's hard to navigate. But you want to, right? You want to still be close to Quinn, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's tribe, right? Like, you got if you can't trust tribe, who else can you trust? But also at the same time, he doesn't get it, and Stakes and Izzy get it. It's a lot easier to talk. Stakes and Izzy doesn't get it. Quinn doesn't get it. He's trying, and I get that he's trying, and I appreciate that. But it's just, it's like he'll do stuff and then he'll say different things that mean different things. It's like I'm talking to two different people sometimes.
Ah. Have you told him that?
Haven't really. He's been sort of doing all of the things with the new Karen and with Terrance and with Delphine, and is trying to look big and important, so he hasn't really
Had time for you?
Yeah.
Maybe tell him you want to spend time and talk to him about this, like one-on-one.
I'm still deciding if I do or not, to be honest. It's just kind of a mess, and I just don't want to deal with it.
I get it, and you're going through a lot, but I would say don't throw away what you have with Quinn. He's still part of your pack, and I think even, you know, coming from where you came from, your pack is the strongest support you're going to have in this, and you need him. Sadly, the world is cruel and doesn't really care about us. A lot of it tends to actively fight us or try to destroy us. So having your pack and having someone you can lean on when it gets rough is really important to have.
It's kind of becoming Delphine if she isn't busy all of the time. Because she likes to read with me and she'll tell me stories, and then she's taken me out to do human lessons and stuff in town, and I don't know how she has all the time to do that, plus her job, plus all of the stuff for the, like, I don't know how she does that. It makes my head spin.
Delphine's a bit of the type of person who kind of thrives in that situation. Not everybody does. Doesn't have to be you. But if she's making time to read to you with everything that she has, she wants to get to know you and she wants to get close to you.
Yeah, which has been great. It's just, you know, everybody's busy with stuff, and it seems I sort of just... I still haven't met Ray yet, really. And Forged is Forged. So, I'm just... kind of just... out on my lonesome a lot nowadays, but... I kind of like that too. I spend a lot of time in a box, so it's nice to move around.
If you want, I could go for walks or runs with you. Show you all the cool spots.
Yes, absolutely. And then I think someone had mentioned that you guys did something about the Big Rock. I want to learn about the Big Rock. If you have time to tell me about the Big Rock. The new rock.
Oh, yes. That is a spirit. That is Turtle. I am not finished writing the story of Turtle yet, but once I do, I will tell it to you.
Do you need another Galliard to help bounce ideas off of, or to help?
Sure. Sure, we can do that. I can tell you the very gist of it if you'd like. We went into a place connected to the Umbra where dreams come from. You dream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to that place via the Umbra, and we walked a road, and we went on a journey that had many things that wanted to stop us, including this thing called a story thief, where it would steal stories or memories from you. But we made it through the road and through all the dangers to where we came to Turtle asleep. And we argued with the story thief and won him over and brought Turtle back from the world of dreams where he was slowly being forgotten.
And that's why we're important, because if we don't tell their stories, then they do that, then they go to sleep forever and disappear?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's scary.
It is scary.
Yeah, no, we should do this more so I can learn more of the stories, because I need to help. So I want to help.
Okay. Definitely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, awesome. Good. Yay. Okay.
So in the meantime, you want to go for a run?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll shift into Lupus and wait for her.
Oh yeah, shifting into Lupus and sprinting off into the woods.
So as the two of you go tearing off into the bond surrounding the cairn, what's going through your minds after this encounter with one another and the forming of a new relationship? Willow, will start with you, and then Jester.
Finally getting to talk to Jester after the initial introduction. I don't think Willow has met someone with such a cool temperament, and it just sort of has such an even tone, but like you can tell that there's a dam that's holding back all of the rage. It's an energy that Willow hasn't encountered before. But the moment that Jester starts to tell a story, like it's like everything shifts into that, and it's good that someone else connects with them on the Galliard level.
And Jester.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about now having a Galliard mentee, especially when I feel like I'm still figuring out how to be a Galliard myself, even after all these years. So I feel like, though, it went well, and I like Willow a lot, and her energy is a bit infectious, and I just hope that I can help her become a great Galliard.
There's a clear divide between teacher and mentee. It is difficult in Guru culture because those lines often have to blur by necessity. And maybe it's for the better. That communal mindset that the Guru have often served them in times of strife and in times of struggle. Having pack mates and mentors to lean on, that's how you stay the course, because wolves aren't meant to live this life alone. They need to surround themselves by those they trust, those they can rely on. But also, the dangers of the Guru life make those lives very, very short. A ally could be there one day and then gone the next. So it's so important in these days to make the most of every moment you get with those individuals. And if anything, the loss of Juniper makes that even more so. We now move on to our next scene. Our next scene begins in a therapist's office on the outskirts of downtown Tampa, just outside of the border of the vampires, but far enough outside that Forged can feel comfortable venturing to and from the location. To say that Forged has a lot to talk about would be an understatement, possibly the understatement of understatement. But, as is always the case with therapy, you have to choose what you reveal and how much. And if you hold anything back, the work can't truly be done. Every piece of information is important. Now, the problem with being a Guru with a human therapist is that you have to hold back quite a bit in order to make sure that the veil is secure. So I suppose the question to you, Forged, is how much are you really getting out of these meetings with Heather? How much are you able to take on to your real life? What tools have you gained? And what is it that keeps you coming back for more?
Forge keeps finding himself drawn to Heather, drawn to these talks. At first, couldn't really tell why. first he's kind of just justified it as, oh, she's hot and we go out and party, and just sometimes we have deep talks beforehand that feel kind of nice, but nothing crazy. But having become more emotionally intelligent, or at least trying to be, he comes to appreciate the normalcy that talking with Heather can provide, as everyone else, at least all the other group, they may understand more, but their visions is kind of clouded by talks of spirits, of the Garud nation, of Garud life, when Heather gives advice through the lens of a human. And that's where Forge kind of feels most comfortable. He enjoys being around humans. He enjoys feeling like a human. And this kind of is almost a nice escape and a way to keep in touch with his roots.
So as you arrive at the office, you end up sitting outside in the small waiting room outside of her office, as you see that there is a sign hanging on the door that says, "Session in progress. Do not knock." After a few minutes, the door opens, and a younger woman with long brown hair hanging down to her shoulders steps out. She's dressed somewhat fashionably. She has a wide-brimmed hat upon her head and some jewelry around her neck, as well as a button-up shirt. At this point, Heather follows out behind her and says, "All right, Chloe, I'll see you next week." And then she looks over to you, Forged, and says, "Bradley, come on in."
He'll nod, and as he's walking over, he'll kind of lower his voice a little bit and say, her hat is actually dope as hell.
It's a pretty nice hat. Have a seat. She leads you into the office and closes the door behind you, where you see the same overstuffed couch, a couple of chairs flanking a small coffee table, and then her desk with a chair on either side. Where do you choose to post up?
I think the couch. This has been a classic spot for him to be able to lay back a little bit, get a bit more relaxed.
Okay, so as you flop down on the couch, Heather makes her way over to the desk, grabbing a small notepad off of it, and comes to sit in one of the chairs across from the couch. How are you feeling today? How was your trip?
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been a hot minute. I would like to say that it was a nice trip and fun vacation, but did not quite pan out to that. And, to be honest, feel kind of like shit. Not been a great time for Bradley last while.
Well, let's get into it. What's been going on lately?
Well, got some new coworkers, new people that I work with. They're annoying. One of them is constantly like this positive ray of sunshine until you say like one snarky little comment or get a little sarcastic with her, and next thing you know, she goes off and yells about "fuck you" and shut your damn mouth, whatever. And then as soon as you're like, oh, do something about it, or like even go to say anything, you got like 10 people standing in front of her like, no, she's baby, and it's just so annoying sometimes. It's like, man, when I was, first around here, and I was, I'm pretty young for the job here too. I was one of the younger people on the job. I say some stuff, I get smacked. Everyone's like, yeah, that's all right. But she is baby, even though, same age.
All right. So are you maybe feeling a little bit jealous of how they're being treated?
Forge thinks on it for a moment, as he does kind of, he does like give a serious thought, like, am I actually jealous of this? There's a little bit of jealousy, but he finds as he thinks more about it, there's something else quite there that he's not quite able to put his finger on. So he'll say, a little bit, but it's, I don't know, something else about it just really just pisses me off, man. Like, you have to get someone else to fight all your battles for you, to step in and protect you, and say you don't have to do certain things because you're so, oh, you're special, you're baby. And it's something about just, I mean, yeah, it would be nice if I didn't have to be me and be this big strong dude that had to be able to handle everything, but
Why do you think you have to be that all the time?
because like it's my job there, it's expected of me from everyone else there. It's kind of like my archetype that I've fallen into. But I mean, guys like me, like being tough, being strong, and being able to do all this stuff that allows for people like her to do not as much, and to be there and be weak, and to just, he like shakes his head, and something about him when he says weak, it really resonates within him, and he starts like getting his temper writhing a little bit as he shakes his head.
First off, you're not weak, Bradley. You are very, very strong. And you're growing stronger with every time we meet. Because strength isn't measured just by outward appearances or what we can do physically. Strength goes deeper than that. And the fact that you're doing this work, that you're having these conversations with me, that you're thinking these thoughts, shows just how much progress you've made. But this need to be strong, need to be viewed as tough, started before you started this job. You've said so yourself. As a child or teenager growing up, you felt a need to be viewed as a badass, tough. Maybe it's part of what made you perfect for the job that you got. Or maybe you feel you can pass off your desire to use this tough exterior as a shield because it's what the job requires. But you're not always working, Bradley. You have to clock out sometime. So does this feeling, this need to be viewed this way, clock out with you, or does it last beyond? And are you maybe projecting upon others the feeling that they should have to be that way too? No two experiences are the same. No two people are the same. And maybe it's a manipulative tactic. I don't know this individual that you speak of, but it could also just be an innocence that you felt like you've never had, or an innocence that you've lost and are a little bit envious of, or maybe resentful of.
Forge, on hearing this, leans back on the couch, his head draping over the top as he looks up at the ceiling, tapping his foot a bit anxiously to this as he takes it in and lets out a low, it's like, God, this, I mean, I don't care about being as much being seen about a badass now or tough. I just want to be strong, because I know that's what I need to be for this job. If I'm not strong, then other people on my job could get hurt, or, they rely on me in ways. And is it not a problem for someone to be weak in a thing where you need to be strong? Like, if she's a liability and she gets someone else messed up, I don't know, that's gonna mess her up, and that's gonna mess all of us up. And at some point, you just gotta think like, iron. You gotta knock some of that out of her. Knock the weakness out, knock some of that innocence out. This is serious work, and iron sharpens iron. You gotta be a bit tough on them sometimes for them to grow.
Based off of what you've said, they're not weak. Others view them as weak. That's why they take the need to step up and step in those moments. From what it sounds like, this particular individual uses that positive, peppy attitude as a shield to cover up for something else beneath it. That's why you have those outbursts. That's why you have that sudden irritated or aggravated behavior. Don't assume the strength of an individual solely based off of their actions. There are individuals who are quiet and might be viewed as meek or shy that are some of the strongest individuals because of what they've been through, what they've experienced. If you really want to know this person, know what their motivations are, or know if they are a liability, you need to know them. And there's a lot of ways to go about that. You can test them. I don't recommend it. You can also just ask them. Ask them for their story. One of the best things you can do, Forged, is ask questions. Or Bradley, is ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more they reveal. And you asking questions shows an interest in them, an investment in them. And I can tell you, speaking from experience, women like that. They like being asked questions. They like when you don't talk about your accomplishments and try to show off, even though I'm sure media and culture has taught otherwise. You really want to impress someone or get to know them. Don't make it about you, make it about them.
George will sit back up, head going back up, looking back at Heather. He'll nod, say, yes, it's hard to tell with words, with talking, because I've talked with a lot of people, and I mean down here, my coworkers, and a lot of times just people don't live up to the words they say, and they'll say a whole lot, and in reality, when the time comes and the cards come down, it just don't live up to it, So, and I know I'm kind of sounding like my old self here a little bit, but I don't really, ever since coming back, the idea of like getting close to any of them, even my coworkers that I'm friends with, things just feel different, like weird. And when I think about like getting close to any of them, I start like, it's just hard to describe. Just this really, I hadn't really felt this before, but just something about it just doesn't feel right.
People who experience loss and trauma find it hard or difficult to connect once again out of fear of experiencing that loss once more. It can cause them to grow distant. And you've had loss, Bradley. You've had trauma in your past. So connection was always difficult for you. Now it sounds like you've experienced something recently that has caused you to revert, to become fearful of connection once more. Now, I won't pry. You can tell me what you need to tell me, when you need to tell me. Safe space, after all. But maybe that's something to consider. Why are you having difficulty connecting? Why are you afraid of forming those bonds? Because for a while, it seemed like you were making a great deal of progress of bonding with your coworkers. Some that you might have even considered friends at a point or two. But here's another question I want to ask you about the others that step in. Why do you think they feel the need to protect this individual from you?
As he contemplates that, it does kind of hurt hearing that said to him, as he kind of realizes what she means by that, as he just, kind of realized, like, oh, everyone's first instinct when I look a little upset or someone says something to me, that I'm going to thrash them immediately and, hurt them, so they need to protect them from me. And then they come immediately. It takes a moment for him to kind of mull on it and to realize that, as take a deep breath. I know I don't have the greatest track record. All right, I mean, I know I'm a bit of an ass. I know I have a temper, and that I've been prone to, outburst, and people piss me off. I don't just let it slide. I'll just do something about it, make sure they don't piss me off again, and it would have just been easier if I was still like my old self, where I kind of liked, I don't know, liked with a strong word, but it was
easier,
I guess, fear. Yeah, easier to have people fear saying something to you, knowing that you might do something to them, because then they won't say anything and they just stay there knowing that, hey, I can't mess with this guy. But now, just, have I grown too soft? Like, people mess with me more often now. This new coworker keeps saying all this shit, and, people come to her side to help her, and he'll make sure nothing bad happens to her. I'm like, is that when does, like, is it respect? Do I need to earn the respect, or like have respect? And or is it just like, I need to make sure they know that, hey, I'm not a guy to fuck with?
Well, that really depends on what you hope to achieve. Yes, it was easier to be someone to fear, but it's also much lonelier. It's a very lonely place to be. When everyone's afraid of you, no one wants to be close to you. And I know for a fact, Bradley, that you want connection. You don't want to be alone. Now, all those things that you said about being kind of an ass, I didn't say any of that. You did. I didn't accuse you of having a bad attitude or outbursts, so it seems like you already know why people behave the way they do around you. But you also have an opportunity to change that view, and it sounds like you have. What you call becoming soft, in truth, is just you being stronger inside. Not lashing out at every single slight that you feel like you occur. Not taking the opinions of others as the basis of your entire personality. You don't need validation from them. Whether it's fear, whether it's aggression, you're finding self-worth. Self-worth that perhaps you've never had, because all those things that you use to describe yourself are the views of other people. Other people being afraid of you. Other people not fucking with you again. How do you view yourself? Now, do you think you're soft?
It's complicated. I kind of a lot changed on my trip. Uh, uh, it's kind of hard to talk about, but I can at least give the gist of it a little bit. First thing that my mom is having some memory problems and doesn't seem to remember her son. And it hurts quite a lot to have your own mom forget about you. It just, it really made me think, what do I need to do to be remembered? The pain of being forgotten, especially by people that care about you, and we're having your story just be erased. And I lost a friend of mine up there too. They lost their life, and it's not easy to talk about.
Yeah, I can see why all those things combined together would make you afraid of connection. When it comes to things like memory loss, whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia, or just simply amnesia, that's not because of anything you did. Usually that's clinical, chemical. Trust me, your mom, she didn't choose to forget you. If she is going through that difficult process, it's even harder on them, because it's not that they choose not to remember, they want to. They want to remember with every fiber of their being, because those memories are part of what make us who we are, those experiences. So you don't need to do anything. What you need to be is patient and consistent. If being remembered by your mom is so important, you need to be a constant presence and help her make new memories in hopes of restoring the old ones. And it might not work. Some people have a memory reset every day. But it's the people who stick around and are patient through that whole process that still get to make new memories, still get to have new experiences with those individuals. It's less about what can you do for them, but what can you do for yourself to make this process easier. Yeah, losing a friend is never easy. It's scary and difficult, and a reminder of just how fragile life is. But now, your job to show just how important they were to you. Because in a way, that's how we keep them alive. Their bodies may go, but their stories, their memories can live on. And everything that they've taught us can inspire us to be better because of it. Connection is always a risk, Bradley. It always is, every single time. And yes, the chance of getting hurt is always there. But so is the chance of making a lifelong connection. So is the chance of meeting your best friend or your partner or just your found family. And if you don't open yourself up to those connections, you're deciding for everyone how that relationship is going to be. You're deciding for yourself that you choose loneliness over the fear of being hurt. Is that what you want?
No, I don't want to be alone, but I also don't want to be hurt, and I'm trying. I am trying to get better and to.
I know you are. I know you are, and I'm not saying you're not. You are doing fantastic work, incredible work. From the first day I met you to now, you've done so much, and you should be proud of what you've done. But it's very easy to revert back to old behaviors because we view them as safe, because we know what to expect from those behaviors. Bradley, you probably will get hurt again. Probably will. Odds are pretty good. But odds are also good that you won't. And you will never know if you don't try. Because what you put out there, what you invest into these relationships, is what you're going to get in return if you want it bad enough.
Yeah, I'm just kind of worried, that I'm gonna keep doing this, keep doing my thing, and my time will come one day when Bradley is no more, and I wonder who's gonna remember that. Who's gonna remember me when I'm not around anymore? What kind of story am I gonna leave behind? Like, is it just gonna be the tragedy of Bradley, of a series of unfortunate fuck-ups, Like, who's gonna pray for me when my body's gone, I'm praying for my friend, I'm praying for people that I've lost for my life, but who's gonna do it for me?
That's up to you. Because if you don't connect with anybody, nobody will. You'll just be another stranger who disappears. If you really want to be remembered, be memorable. Do you want to be remembered for something good? You want to be remembered for something bad? You don't get to decide how they remember you or who remembers you. But you can provide them an opportunity to by connecting, by being strong and a positive force in their life. And it's not too late. I know you're probably thinking a lot about death and loss, whether it's loss of memory because of your mother or loss of life because of your friend. But you aren't gone yet. You're still here right now. You still have all of the opportunity to change, to make memories, to be memorable. But you can't decide for other people. You can only decide for yourself. If you feel good about the actions you take, and not some sort of superficial good of looking like a badass or how you think you're viewed, but truly feel good about the relationships you're forming and the work you're putting into those relationships, the odds of you being remembered fondly go up. They truly do. But what you need to do is stop worrying about and trying to control how others view you. You need to control how you view yourself. Do you want to be scared of yourself? Do you want to be ashamed of yourself? Do you want to be angry with yourself? Or do you want to be proud, happy, and confident? Not false confidence, not bravado, but true confidence of saying, I am Bradley, this is who I am, and I want you to know me just as I want to know you.
There's a pause from Forge as he leans forward and he really heavily considers what Heather's saying, kind of working it over, really digesting it as he closes his eyes for a few moments. That kind of a formation of a thought, the beginning of something, as he kind of almost had like a light a light bulb moment, had a bit of revelation, and as he says, "Huh, that is something, Heather. That what you said just made me think of something. That it's a lot of things for community service near here, and things that I've been doing for work made me kind of realize that I don't know if I put my whole into it, if I really help, like the people here and the job and like everything, that like I can feel pretty good about myself and feel I'll leave a pretty good legacy behind, especially for my kid, and he'll have good memories of his father. If I at least work towards a goal, or work towards with a group or something that is good, then that should do pretty good, right?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Volunteering, community work, it can provide a sense of satisfaction few other things can. But I'll warn you, throwing yourself entirely into something is also dangerous. You need to make sure to take time for yourself. Volunteering and community service comes with this invisible exhaustion. It's hangover that can build up over time. Suddenly you don't feel like they're appreciating it enough. Suddenly you start feeling like they're taking it for granted. Suddenly you feel like you're not doing enough. And you can just run yourself in circles over and over and over again. The best you can do, Bradley, is your best. Whatever that is. Whether it's volunteering 1 day a week or whether it's volunteering 7 days a week. Whatever your best is the best. And you have to decide for yourself what that is. Don't let others decide for you. Don't let them tell you you're not doing enough. You're not being enough. You're not happy enough or sad enough or angry enough. You decide what the line is for yourself. You decide what you can achieve.
Yeah, that I can agree to that. I think my way of helping also might be a little different than how a lot of other people try and help. I don't know if sometimes people talk about, but I try and help out around here when I can, and at least get those belligerent assholes off the streets and out of bars and make sure they're not messing with people. So
Sure.
I try and do some stuff, but maybe I could do something a little more peaceful.
Yeah. Because you gotta ask yourself, why am I doing this thing? Am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for others? Or am I doing it just to be viewed a certain way? A lot of people think or go on this eternal hunt to be viewed as selfless. But that satisfaction you get from doing something for someone else makes it inherently not selfless. There is a reward. And that's okay. Getting a joy out of the thing you do isn't a bad thing. It's in fact often a reward for doing something good. It's a genuine hit of dopamine or a feeling of accomplishment. just think about when you pursue these actions, when you pursue this volunteer work or whatever it is you're trying to do, why am I doing it? What am I hoping to gain? What am I hoping to achieve or accomplish? And if you can't find an answer that's satisfactory to you, then why do it?
Forge will nod, say, right. He will, at this point, kind of sit up a bit more, kind of shift comfortably before just standing up. So kind of taking a few steps, like pacing a little bit, seemingly just kind of a little uncomfortable just sitting this whole time. He'll say, I know I'm not a saint, so I'm not doing this for nothing. I mean, it feels nice. Feels kind of cringe to say that, but it feels good to help other people and to, be something more than just the destructive asshole. But
well, let me tell you this. No saint thought they were a saint at the time they were doing what made them a saint. Joan of Arc, for example, didn't think she was a saint or she was going to be a saint. When she stood up for the people, for the country, and for faith. And when she was murdered, she didn't die thinking she was a saint. She fought for what she believed in, and that was recognized by others. You don't have to think you're a saint to do saintly things. History will decide what you are, how you did. All you can do is live in this moment and make the decisions you think are best, and you truly think are best. Not what you think others will think are best.
yeah, that's. Thank you, Heather. I kind of needed to hear all that. It's been a very rough patch here. Especially
Sounds
last
like
month.
it. Your friend, your mother, and your son all have one thing in common at the very least. They want you to be the best you can be and to make the most of this life you've been given. If you do that, you will honor them.
Yeah, I'll no more just running around doing what, Bradley thinks a badass would do. I think it's time to start doing what Bradley wants to do, what I want to do, instead of just parading some cause I don't really even believe in.
What do you want put into the world? And if you truly don't know, what would your child want put into the world? Because they're the one who's going to inherit it.
Yeah, I'd rather him not inherit a world of destroyed by pollution, of everyone hating each other, and rich people getting richer while everyone else just gets stuck at the bottom, and there's a shit ton of homeless people who don't get any help at all. So I think that's a good place to start. Don't know how to fix those problems. Don't know if I can, but...
You don't have to fix it, you just have to try. And yeah, a world full of selfish, asshole badasses is a sucky place to live in. Because at the end, none of them are badasses. None of them are the best. They all just kind of suck.
Yeah, I recently met someone who kind of reminded me of me a little bit ago. Not entirely, but a little bit. And man, that fucking sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not fun looking at a mirror of a version of yourself you didn't quite like. That's really humbling, and yeah, that was real bad. You know, sorry about
Don't be
that.
sorry. Look at who you are now with pride. And now maybe you can set an example for this new person who reminds you of who you were. You can be the guiding light to show them that it doesn't have to be that way.
Words will just give a genuine smile to that, as he'll just say, "Thank you, Heather. That's really nice." And he like kind of awkwardly stands there, and like he often like opens his arms a little bit, like, I don't know if I should do a hug here. Like, I want to show appreciation, but I'm not sure what's appropriate.
She smiles and gives off a soft chuckle and stands up out of her chair and enters into the hug with you. I'm really proud of you, Bradley. And when I think of our time together, I think of it fondly. Because I've seen you become the man you want to be. Possibly the man you've always wanted to be, but we're just too afraid to try. Don't be afraid. Fear keeps us from accomplishing anything. It's a paralyzing force that will keep us exactly where we are and keep us from going where we want to go. You don't have to be afraid. Acknowledge that pain will come, but acknowledge all the joy that will come also. And then you have nothing to be afraid of.
Thank you. I'm trying to be done with being afraid, and every time I say that, I think I do pretty good for a bit, but it seems like a lot harder to, you know, make those things actually happen and stick to them. But I guess that's part of just being a human, I guess, you know, no matter, things are always going to change and can't quite escape everything.
We are complicated animals, and we make it more complicated when external forces throw their 2 cents in. We just have to assume that everyone is trying their best with what they have at any given moment, even if it feels like it comes up short. We have to be the best we can be, and we have to hope that they are trying to be the best they can be. That's it. It's as simple as that. Why complicate it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that really does want to test this new coworker by being like, hey, you want to like spar in some boxing and seeing how they stand up, even though they're probably way weaker than me. But I know it's probably a bad idea. I'm fighting the urge though. I'm fighting it. I will at least try to ask how, you know, more about them, and if they really just keep annoying me, then maybe I can do that a little, you know, if they not doing it.
Well, and if they're an older version of you, I'm sure they'd love to get into a scrap. But knowing that you're stronger, knowing that you're better, what do you have to prove?
I mean, at first I wanted to do it just kind of like, hey, don't talk shit about me, because I can beat you up. But now it's kind of like, I want to see what she got so that she, you know, she can at least defend herself and fight. Because, I mean, I'm tired of losing people. I'm really tired. I don't want to lose people, and the thought of having someone I'm working with who I'm gonna grow close with, because I know that's just how things work, and no matter how hard I try, it's gonna eventually happen. That they're too weak to even defend themselves. That it scares me. I don't want them to. I can't just protect them all the time, because I know I can't be there all the time. I've learned that.
You come at it from that perspective. If you do the really brave thing of telling them that, I think you'll find that you create a bond that you don't have to be afraid of hurting you. Because you are investing in them. And really, at the end of the day, that's all any of us want, is to feel like other people invest in us, that they care about us, that they want us to do our best.
I'm a man of action. I prefer action, but I understand. I know.
It's as simple as just saying, I don't want to lose another coworker or friend. As simple as that.
You see, like there's the very visible like kind of pain and Ford's face as he contemplates saying that to someone he's not very familiar with, and that level of vulnerability as he grits his teeth a little bit. I think I will have they say to practice in the mirror for those kind of things, right? I think I'm gonna have to practice a bit in the mirror before I can do that. That's just thinking about it already made me ugh.
Feel it out in the situation. When the time is right, you will know it. And their reaction to that vulnerability will be very telling to you about how much you should invest in them. If they react poorly, they're probably someone who's not ready for that kind of investment. If they react favorably, then you know you've found a person worth investing in.
Yes, that's true. So, in the club after this?
I do have one more patient after this, but I'll meet you there.
Okay, but just know if you I don't know if you can hurry these up, or maybe just be a little like tap the desk or something, give them a little sense of urgency, because that line will go. I don't think I'm gonna hold your spot for an hour.
I have an in. Don't worry about me.
Right. Well, I guess I'll see you there. He'll he takes a deep breath, looking very exhausted by this conversation, kind of like at the point of, I need an out. This is killing me at this point, this level of, openness, as he will put his hand in his pocket and kind of put back up his shield as he will start walking out. Wait, before he leaves though, he'll stop and look back. Truly, thank you. I keep saying it, but I feel like I can't express it enough. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for being open. Thank you for being honest. It's never easy, but it's appreciated. Know that. From me, it's appreciated. Now go. Enjoy yourself. I'll see you shortly.
Yep, you will have to be told twice. He'll nod and walk on out, going to the club.
As you head out, and you head downstairs out onto the street, how is Forged feeling now? Considering all the weight he's been carrying, considering everything he's had to experience lately, how does he feel after this conversation with Heather?
Definitely the initial feeling of exhaustion from just being so open and pouring out feelings like that, but it's does give a bit of hope. You could say an ember of hope in his chest as he considers that his life doesn't really have to be sad, that he can make these connections, that he can approach people, and that maybe there is a good chance that he could have a positive legacy, because he knows that there's a good chance he probably won't see his son grow to age. It's a more pressing, it's a thought that presses in the back of his mind that he's an Arun in one of the most dangerous places he can be. He's probably gonna die before he can see his son grow up. But if he can at least leave a story behind that can make his son proud, and at least make himself proud too, he can be happy with that, and knowing that he helped as many people as he could, that he fought to make the world a better place, and not just because someone else told him to do so.
We can try all we like to be remembered, but that's not up to us. Because at the point that it matters, we'll already be gone. That doesn't stop us from trying. We now move on to our final scene of the first half of tonight's story. Some rather upscale food, one of the finer restaurants in the area. And here is where we find Jordan and Delphine out for a pre-agreed upon dinner for all the work that Jordan did at the cigar factory. As you're sitting at the table, Delphine, Jordan is dressed in a actually pretty nice button-up shirt and some slacks, clearly recently purchased, even if they were possibly from a thrift store. He has refused to order any alcohol or wine, choosing to stick with water and iced tea instead. And you can see that there are a variety of pasta dishes and meals you probably haven't had really since you were with your family, since your parents would occasionally take you out for one of those proper dinners where you had to be on your best behavior, napkins and laps, the whole 9 yards. There are a couple of candles lit upon the table, as there are at all of the tables in the establishment, and there's a pretty light gathering of people, but Jordan put in the extra effort to make sure that your table is a little further away from everybody else, so that you could have space to talk freely. The scene is yours.
She is dressed in, she doesn't really have the nicest clothing. She's gone to some thrift stores with Jester and Aspen, but like she mainly kept to a lot of still baggy clothing that's comfy and little cuteness factor in there, but mostly just fit for comfort. So she's just got like a maxi skirt on and a baggy sweater, despite the heat of the state of Florida in general. And she'll look around at the place and look at him and just comment, "I honestly didn't think there was a place this nice in Ybor." Is that bad of me?
No, I get it, considering most of the people you see on the street around here. Surprises me also, but when I found it, I knew I wanted to check it out. How's your food?
It's good. It's definitely stuff that I've been to places like this before, so it's pretty standard menu.
Another mystery in need of solving. You'll have to tell me all about it, but I saw a cool gelato place down the street too. I figured we could get some dessert after this.
She thinks about it and she's just like, "Yeah, gelato sounds good." But in regards to mystery, it's not much of a mystery. My mom and dad were pretty well off, so I would go to places like this all the time.
Oh, well, I hope this is to your standard, he says with a joking smile.
She laughs a little bit, but then she shrugs. I'm honestly. So, I grew up pretty well off and comfortable, but I actually. I love a good, like, dive. Sometimes my parents would never want to go to those places, but I actually really do enjoy one of those, like, hole in the walls that look like they wouldn't pass a health inspection, but have some of the best food you will have ever tried.
Well, I'll have to keep that in mind for our next date.
Next date.
I mean, I think it's going pretty well, don't you?
She leans back and thinks for a few moments before she just gives him, like, a serious look. I have to ask. Just because it is a thought that crossed my mind. This isn't a way of you messing with Ray, is it?
He furrows his brow and slowly shakes his head. No, Delphine, it's not. I've been effectively dead for the past 2.5 years. The idea of spending a pleasant evening with an attractive young woman, having good conversation, was the furthest thing from reality for me. I just had to watch some of the most terrible and terrifying things unfold in front of my eyes, unable to do anything about it. No, this is just genuinely an interest in getting to know you and living and, I don't know, seeing where it goes.
She listens to that and takes it in and just will nod. Sorry for asking, it crossed my mind we were both very mad at him when all of this came up. So
It's okay. It's totally understandable. No, I'm not trying to get back at Ray. Actually, Ray and I are pretty good in my mind. I understand why he did what he did. It's not an excuse and it's not going to make things all better, but I can't say I wouldn't have done the same thing if I were in his shoes. I had to lose a lot of people I considered friends and family in the military, and Ray has been my best friend since we were kids, and I love him like a brother. And I will always eventually come around to forgiving him, but I'm going to make sure he doesn't forget what he did. And besides,
Okay.
and he reaches up and touches his chest, I have a special little reminder of you now forever, too.
it's like a tattoo, only way more painful.
I definitely felt it. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. All of you saved me, gave me another chance to have moments like this. Even at my worst, when I didn't want them, didn't want anything, I'm glad that I have the chance now.
She smiles a little bit. I'm sorry. I need to say that. I'm not going to lie. When I admit that I was one of the bigger proponents of dealing with you the old-fashioned way, but that's because I didn't know of any other way of it working. I've been... You know the suit?
Yeah?
very traditional teacher for us. And she, like, gives an emphasizing eyebrow raise when she says us. And he has only ever been taught a certain way, and some of that has been rubbing off on me a little bit. I'm a little bit more, I would say conservative amongst the people in our group.
Oh, I get it. Learning more and more about what you're dealing with and everything that is sort of at risk with every decision you guys have to make. I'd get it too. Quick, clean, get it out of the way and over with so that you can move on to whatever the next catastrophe is going to be. But also, if it worked, why are you still doing it? If that was the best solution, why do the problems keep cropping up? Maybe it's time to think a little different.
It's one of those things. It's like you're taught a certain way, but you're having to relearn things. I'm having to relearn to basically learn now that the guy that's been teaching me and who I've been putting a lot of my idealism in, who I've been looking up to, I'm having to currently deal with him coming to the realization that he's not always right.
Is that the equivalent to he leans in really closely and whispers, werewolf midlife crisis?
For his age, yes.
Well, if I've learned anything from all this, it's nobody's perfect. I always kind of held Ray up on a pedestal, and don't tell him I said this because I don't even want to hear from it, but I always thought of him as this perfect paragon of what it is to be a good homegrown Texas boy, you know, serving in the military, becoming an officer, having to make the tough decisions. I always felt safe, even in the most dangerous places with him. But then I see that he's not perfect either, because he strapped me to a chair for 2 years, and in moments, it's difficult to know who you're going to be every single time. It's difficult to know for sure how things are going to turn out. And when you face the unknown, the unusual, when you're put to task like that, people falter. It's only human, as they say. And as much as you, I guess, aren't human anymore, you very much are.
I very much am. I'm that, I'm the other thing, and I'm spiritual. 3 things.
Got me beat.
Technically, you're 2.5 of that.
Well, I'll take it.
Because even without the thing that made you integrated with us, you would have been spiritual regardless.
Well, all that is to say, even the people we view as the biggest pillars of strengths have their weaknesses and are going to make mistakes and are going to keep learning. Doesn't mean we shouldn't continue to have faith in them, because if we know them, if we truly know them, we can trust that they're going to make the right decision when it matters. And sure, it's easy to question whether Ray made the right decision keeping me around or going through that whole process to bring me back, but I'm here to tell the tale. I'm here to have this delicious, albeit slightly overpriced dinner with you. And now I get an opportunity to truly say thank you and give back. Hopefully in more ways than fixing a generator.
Yeah, I've got a lot of plans for that place. It's just a matter of waiting around for the funds to come in.
I'll help out however I can, even if it's to save money.
No, it's fine. I've got it covered. It's coming. I just have to meet certain criteria first, because despite being a rich girl growing up, I was also a problem child.
Well, I've been doing some freelance work with a lot of handymen in the area, contractors, construction workers. So maybe I can know some people who I can get you in touch with that can help.
That would be helpful. I don't know a lot of people. Also, if you want something that puts Ray on less of a pedestal, he smells like a walking fart now to us.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, when you see everyone kind of wrinkling their nose a little bit when they stand next to him, it's because he smells really bad right now.
Well, if you saw him after a full day of boot camp, I'm pretty sure it would put that to shame, but...
Nope, we've done the boot camp thing too.
Oh, wow. Gotta be really bad then.
Oh yeah, the suit is really rough. Like, it was so bad.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I mean, I know I just did, but... what do you want?
That's a loaded question. Before all this?
No, I mean now.
Now?
Yeah.
She sighs and thinks about it for a long time. I want all of them to live to see next year. I want to be there with them.
I was gonna say.
I want us to stop fighting as much as we do.
What about for you?
That is for me.
Yeah, okay. You know, Ray would give the same kind of benevolent leader answer, but no, like, seriously. You guys are supposed to be able to live semi-normal lives. What do you want for you? Just for you. Not for anybody else. Just for you.
She thinks for a very long time. I want, and as dumb as this sounds, I want a partial canopy over a bed. I want a cottage core style bedroom. I want something simple. I want something normal. I want to do well in my classes at school. As much as I appreciate the job working at the law firm, I don't want to always be working there. I want to find something normal that I can do. But I don't know what that is yet. Because part of me still thinks I have to do something that contributes to the overall cause.
Saving the world.
Yep. And unfortunately, being a librarian does not really help the cause.
Disagree.
How so?
Librarians are keepers of knowledge. People who go into the library are usually looking for something. If libraries even exist anymore, but they're usually looking for some kind of answer or direction. Being the provider of that answer might nudge them in the right direction in ways that the internet and social media and the world can't. Maybe in these small micro adjustments, you can steer people towards thinking proactively, thinking conservatively, or conservationatively. You know what I mean?
I do.
Maybe you can help change some minds.
Maybe. Initially, I wanted to, before all this, and before I ran away from home, I wanted to be an archivist, kind of, going around to different universities in different countries, gathering the knowledge and bringing it back to where I could share it with other people. And then she pauses and thinks for a moment and just laughs. That's kind of what my people in this community do. We're messengers.
Then do it. You should. If it's something that gives you joy or a sense of purpose or even a sense of normalcy, a distraction from a crazy amount of responsibility and weight I can only begin to fathom, you should. Because if not, what's the point of any of it?
So the new goal is to live for at least 4 years then. Get the degree so I can get the job.
I hope the goal is to live longer than that.
Currently, the goal is to just, like I said, make it to next year. I want it to be longer. I don't. My people are supposed to be very close with death. But I hate it.
One of the things that got me through the war, well, up until that last bit, was thinking about what would come after. What would going home be like? What would, becoming an engineer be like? Would I re-enlist? Would I become a career military, or would I start a small shop in Texas? It's easy to get caught up in the present, in the now, but the now is going to be what it's going to be no matter what. Having that drive for what comes next, what comes after, might make you a little bit more careful, make you think a little bit harder about rushing in or putting yourself at risk. You'll still do the job. I know you will. You have to. Especially as a leader, I can only imagine. But just having that hope to hold on to, maybe that makes the difference. So yeah, you can plan to live till next year. You can plan to live for 4 years. But if you want to live longer than that, and you hold on to that want tight enough, I think you'll make it.
She stares at him and smirks, while in her head she is thinking about how, as much as she would want that to be true, she does have to ground herself a little bit in reality as a guru. and come to and be at peace with the fact that she could die literally tomorrow. But she will smile at him regardless and just nod and just, yeah, you're right. I should do that more often. I should, definitely.
Roll me a manipulation and subterfuge.
I'm gonna spend a willpower. Four successes.
Yeah. Good. I hope you do.
But what about you, then? You're asking me what I want for myself and for my future. What about you? You got thrown into this, but I doubt this is how you fully want to spend the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's probably true. I haven't put too much thought into it yet.
And you wanted it from me?
I think that it's a different perspective when you've been in a place like that, where all you've had is emptiness, this unfillable pit inside of you, where nothing felt good enough. Nothing gave you any sense of satisfaction. And so I suppose that I'm trying not to take for granted the everyday satisfactions I can get. This dinner with you, this fills me up for tonight. And it's something that wouldn't have happened otherwise. So I guess if I'm thinking about what I want for myself, I want to live at least 4 more years, because I don't know whatever the lasting effects of whatever happened will be on me, but I want to have more moments like this. I want to have more time with Raymond. I want to get to know the other members of the group and make friends. And I guess I don't think as much about me as I do, like you, about others. I want to make sure that you are able to become an archivist and that you are able to live 4 more years and then some. And for me, I want to be there to see it.
Well, you definitely have me and Ray on your side right now. And I saw you talking with Quinn. I don't know if you guys have been hanging out.
We hung out a little bit before everyone arrived. They were very friendly, very welcoming. I would have expected a lot more suspicion, especially when I showed them what I've been doing to protect myself.
What have you been doing to protect yourself? Because I was going to talk to you about that too after dinner. But if you've already done some research, I could confirm whether or not some of it is true or not.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm super informed, but I've stayed ready, as they taught us in the military, and it's gonna sound absolutely paranoid and weird, but I made some wooden stakes for vampires, and I crafted some silver bullets.
kind of useful having someone who knows how to make those, actually. Especially right now. But, yeah, those do work. The latter, at least. Those definitely work. Sorry for being twitchy about it.
No,
I'm
it's
new to this, man.
no,
and
it's okay. And I'm a stranger.
It's not okay. We brought you into this, but we didn't tell you everything, and knowing how to protect yourself should have been the first thing we told you. But I let suspicion because he didn't tell you because I didn't okay it.
He's a dutiful soldier, if nothing else. And it's okay. I get it. You know, I was really angry when I came out of all of this, and I can only assume that that anger would make people think I'm going to do something rash or stupid and foolhardy, or that I hold some sort of resentment towards all of you, but you didn't do this to me. That did. Whatever that thing was, that ghost, that bane, as you call it, whatever that did, that was responsible, not you. The only thing you guys were responsible for was bringing me back. And yeah, it hurt a lot, but it could have been so much worse. And if I had hurt any of you, being that thing, I might not have forgiven myself. I know that I'm going to be more vulnerable now and probably potentially get exposed to some pretty fucked up things, but I don't blame you. I don't blame Raymond. I don't blame your world or society, whatever you call it. You're out here fighting a really difficult and almost impossible fight. And being, again, a soldier, and I know I talk about that a lot, but it's all I remember. A long time. I know what it's like to be under fire constantly. How paranoid that can make you. Now, even more so, knowing that anybody in this restaurant could be wanting to my blood or, you know, tear me to shreds. I want to be ready for it.
We'll make sure you are. We can... Real talk. I would trade the garden stakes in for a crossbow.
Okay.
That's
I
best
can
to
do
have
that.
some range. Best to have some range between you and those things.
Yeah, those don't require any kind of permit, so that should be easy enough. I had to
Not
make my own
Florida, no.
ammo because, you know, I couldn't get it as easily without license and all that kind of stuff. But
What? You didn't just go to some random lost and found and dig through it?
that's how I got the pistol.
I joked about that, but I am legitimately frightened that that is how you got it.
It's not.
Oh, that's terrifying. Damn, that makes me sad for the state.
No, it's not like that. It's regardless. That's good to know. I'll go to a hunting shop or camping shop and see what I can get.
And if you want, we could even help you with fighting too. We could have you fight one of us in, well, not our big mad form, but somewhat big mad.
We'll work our way up to that. Sure. Anyway.
It's the one time I feel strong, though.
Oh, so it's gonna be you? You want to wrestle?
It's the one time I probably feel like I could be competent in a fight. Not gonna lie. I don't know if you've looked at me, and she just gestures to all of her, but in our group, I'm the tiny one.
Believe me, I've looked. And yeah, we'll just have to see what you're made of.
Oh boy. Okay. I talked myself into something now.
Only when you're ready.
No, you know what? No, I can do this. One of our older people has been showing me a few things. I can muster up a lesson plan.
Well, good. Then I guess we should, go get that gelato before I'm completely emasculated and reminded of my mortality.
I could always go all fours and be fluffy instead.
Yeah, you can do that. I can't. Like I said, reminded of my mortality and being a human, but...
I've almost died twice, though.
Yeah, stop doing that.
I can't help it.
I almost died once for a really, really, really long time. So I guess we have that in common.
She leans in. I got skewered by some mushroom zombie.
Okay, wait, what?
And then thrown into some fire.
Okay. You're gonna have to give me a lot more context. Yeah, I was gonna say.
The whole story. It was insane. Like, it sounds like a fever dream.
Like, I know that I'm a little bit behind on stuff, but even I knew what Last of Us was. So
You're gonna trust me. I'm learning, and I'm learning to trust, and I'm learning to be less like the suit. As much as I respect the man, I'm trying to be I'm gonna be my own person and trust and tell you stuff.
he reaches over to take your hand, not in any kind of like aggressive fashion, just in a gentle, like vulnerable, puts his hand palm up on the table. I want you to trust me. And I want you to know that I'm not going to betray that trust, because I like you. And obviously I love Raymond, and I'm getting to know some of the others. Quinn seems cool. Terrance seems cool. That Forged guy seems really cool. Seems like a guy to go out bar hopping with. I wouldn't do anything to put that at risk.
She'll put her hand in his and just nod and smile. Honestly, this has been the most normal I've felt in a long time.
So, would you want to do it again? When you get a night off, which I know might be 16 months from now, but...
One condition.
Okay.
Let's make it a dive bar next time.
Oh, absolutely. No, we're not...
I've been to too many of these places with my parents, and I just like some weird shit food, man.
Say no more. I'll find a really good hole-in-the-wall shithole joint, but no booze. No booze.
Please. Thank you.
So I'll find a place that works for that. But you're on.
I heard about something called a meat tornado. Like, I want to know what that's
You know,
about.
I heard them talking about a taco truck or something. Yeah, we'll go there. That'll be it. Then it's a date.
Taco. Yeah, I've got a ton of weight to gain still from all of the bullshit that I was doing, and a meat tornado sounds like it could make me gain like 5 pounds right in just one sitting.
You're telling me I've been buying clothes in my original size and they still feel baggy. So even though I'm a little bit more, rosy around the cheeks, I could stand to put on a few more too.
I get it. Probably more than anyone you know right now.
He smiles at that and nods. Well, I'm going to go pay the check, and then we'll head out and get that gelato.
Yeah.
So as Jordan gets up from the table, moving over to the bar, What is Delphine thinking after this whole experience?
At first, it was just a friendly obligation that she had to she had to make good on, because she did agree to this, and initially she did think maybe he's just trying to fuck with Ray. But after having the dinner and just chatting and having time where she didn't have to stress, she didn't have to worry about something that needed to be done, or what the schedule was for tomorrow, or who still needed to go on patrols. It was nice because she didn't even have to pick out the place. She just got to sit back and enjoy, and she told it to him best. It's the most normal experience she's had in a long time, and she legitimately just had a lovely time and had fun and was able to feel normal and human again, even if it was just for a little bit.
We are constantly on a search for connections. Whether it's from a teacher, whether it's from a healer, whether it's from friends, whether it's romantic. This is something that sets us apart from most of the other living creatures. It's how deep those connections can get, how varied they can get. Yes, humans have a tendency to complicate things. They can make things messy and just disastrous. But also they can build something unique, original, new, special. Things being complex doesn't have to be a bad thing if you don't let it. Even if it's a connection between a Guru and a Ghislaine, two forces that couldn't be more opposite but are connected by a thin thread. It's worth it. Because if not, what are we fighting for? This is where we go to break. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back. As we return, we find ourselves on the same streets, Ybor City. It's mid-afternoon, and two Guru find themselves out on patrol, out on a walk. Quinn Kelly, who is still trying to find their footing around here while also trying to remain pure from the insane and heretical teachings of this sept. And Terrance, someone who may have been quote-unquote born in this sept, but has spent a majority of their Guru experience up in Georgia, another very nation-based sept. It provides an opportunity for some relief for Quinn, talking to somebody who knows what it's like, knows how different it is here, and how that can be somewhat uncomfortable. And also the bonds of tribe, the bonds of fellowship, someone who gets it. As you're out on your patrol, Quinn, Terrance has brought a camera with him, and it's an old school kind of camera that takes actual film and has like a lens, and it has a nice long strap that goes around his neck. And every now and then he'll pause, take a picture, maybe a few, and then continue moving on as you make your patrol. Heading up the street from the cigar factory to the main drag of Ybor City is where our scene begins. And what's going through Quinn's mind during this walk?
Quinn is trying to push away any and all thoughts of any upset feelings he has for any of his pack mates, any of the sept leadership, any of that, and just kind of trying to see the good in the day. It's warmer here, it's not too bad, and he enjoys kind of being in the crowds and in human society, so he's trying to keep on that thought.
As you're soaking up the vibes of the city of Ybor, it's not as crowdly populated as it is, especially on a weekend evening, but there is still a good few people moving amidst the shops, cars driving by on the street. But you're getting long stretches of time where you can talk pretty openly and freely without anyone overhearing you. As Terrance stops in front of a tattoo parlor that is up on the second floor of a building with a long stone staircase that seems to lead down to the ground level, he stops and looks up at the purple illuminated sign, snaps a picture, and says to you, "So you've been staying at the factory, huh?"
Yeah, Delphine requested it, so I've been making sure to do what the pack leader wants us to do and pay my respects and all of that.
Did Delphine have to request it, or did you volunteer?
Column A, column B.
I get it. That Karen is, it's really something, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be something really cool, for sure.
And then there's the other one. That's overwhelming. I've never been in a place like that before.
Yeah, me neither.
How are you feeling about all of it?
Well, how long you got? Because it's a lot.
I got time if you do.
He nods at that for a little bit and kind of ponders what he wants to say. And he says, well, there's definitely a weird shift in that other Karn. Something changed. No one's saying anything about it, which is nice. But I don't know. I was starting to like the idea of being here, and then Miss Wise had to open up her mouth.
Right. Aspen. She is, she's a lawyer through and through, that's for sure. Very professional, but I'd give her a little bit of slack. She took on a lot coming here. I remember what the sept looked like. Well, it was just a pack, honestly. when they found me and they brought me into this crazy wild life, and the odds certainly weren't in their favor then. Can you believe that the original cairn was a graveyard?
Oh, wow. That is concerning.
Yeah, okay, graveyard in the middle of the city. It was not what you'd expect, that's for sure. But as far as, I don't know, as far as she's concerned, she's just trying to do what she thinks is best for the area. And that's a lot of pressure for someone who isn't as experienced in guru culture or politics or society as someone like you are. And I think that it's got a very like merit-based system here. Everyone's welcome to join, but like if you want to be given any kind of respect, you got to earn it, even if you're previously super experienced and everything like that. And I know that can be frustrating, to say the very least, but also, can you really blame them? It's not that different than the nation. Like, yeah, you got your renown and everything like that that can help you get settled into a place, but then after that, they're just going to expect you to pick up and pull your weight.
Yeah, let's talk about the kind of differences and similarities between both nations for a second.
Sure.
Let me paint a little bit of a story. I know I'm not a Galliard, but I just want to listen to me and see if you get the same thing that I'm getting. So we have the nation that we know. It is how it is, and there's trials and tribulations, tribes not getting well with each other, just mass amounts of problems, right?
Sure.
Then you have, let's say, a blonde Silverfang decide that they want to make a better nation, that they think that they have the ability to do so, so they do that.
Okay.
And then they open up this space, they make this new nation for all of Garu kind, letting them in within reason, within an understanding, giving a modicum amount of respect for certain people only. Who does that sound like?
Well, it sounds like what I've heard of Silverfangs. I think that I don't think you're wrong. Let me put it that way. I don't think you're wrong that there is potentially a slight bias here. From what I know of this place, the old nation hasn't exactly been, well, I won't even say the old nation, the nation. Let's call it a spade a spade. The nation hasn't been giving the best impressions here. As far as I know, the exposure that most of them have had hasn't been great. They haven't seen the good parts of the nation on full display. They've seen a lot of the bad, a lot of the wrong. And I honestly admire them for trying something different. Trying to go without the previous, without all the previous structure the old nation or the nation has. Like, there's tradition, and that's great, and that's important to our people, for sure. Structure's not a bad thing. But also, it's a little outdated. Don't you think? Like, share the first of every kill. How often are we out killing? Like, how...
I mean, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I was starting to get with this Karn, or this Sept. I was trying to, like, really involve myself into it. And then she disrespected me.
Because she didn't let you just immediately become a kinseeker again?
No, because she questioned my validity in being a kinseeker with Willow.
Okay. I get it. I get why that would be insulting. I mean, so far you've done the job, right? You found them, you brought them, you taught them a few things. I think that, as far as I'm concerned, it was a success. And how long were you with Willow even?
What was it? 6 months or so, I think. I don't know. Now? I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah. So it's been a bit. But you've also had to do it alone. And kinseekers usually find them, bring them back to a sept, and the sept all kind of pitches in their education, and you've had to do it by yourself. And I can see why that would be extremely discouraging and frustrating, to be so easily disregarded, I suppose. I want to put this to you and chew on it, spit it back in my face, whatever you think is best, but how much time has she really gotten to understand everything you've been through? I mean, she's got Willow to go off of as the only evidence and example, plus whatever else you've told her about your past. And Willow is unlike most Lupusborn I've met. They have an exuberance and an energy and an excitement that is wonderful, because we need optimism around here. God knows we need it. But it also is a bit much. And it can make one think that she is naive, that she is untaught, that she doesn't know what she's doing and is a liability. And I think that's why the other guru tend to baby her, to be completely honest. Now, I know how to talk sweet and soft, but if you don't think I haven't hit her with a stick in the side of the head a couple of times, I have. And I'll continue to do so, because this life isn't for the soft. It isn't for the naive. And I think that you're not getting enough credit for what you did, but I don't think it's coming through either. A lot of the questions that are being asked, a lot of the confusion that's coming up, might make one think that they weren't taught first, versus maybe that they were overwhelmed at the time that they were taught and didn't absorb it, didn't retain that information. And that's all they have to go off of. They haven't seen you teach. It's not like they've seen you work with a bunch of other kin before and know your style or know what it is you're telling them. They're taking it secondhand based off of word of mouth and the word of a very, very excitable Lupusborn. And the one who found me, my kinseeker, Aiden, was a Lupusborn as well, but he was a very different Lupusborn compared to Willow. And as far as I know, aside from Aiden and Stakes, Aspen hasn't had much experience with other Lupusborn. So to see one who is so vastly different than the two that they've met so far, that seems like the oddity, the exception, the maybe even viewed as a problem. I think rather than taking it as an insult, take it as a challenge. The old nation's all about challenges, right? That's how we resolve our disputes. That's how the shit gets handled. So the challenge is to prove them wrong. The next kin you find, show them how you do it and show them that you do it right. It's not having to be viewed as making a name for yourself or earning their respect, but in truth, we have to earn our respect with every guru we meet. Our renown, our stories only get us so far. They're still going to want to see us in a fight. They're still going to want to see us at a moot. They're still going to want to see us in a right before they actually trust us. The difference is, in the old nation, they just think that. They don't say it. One thing I respect about Aspen is she'll say it. She'll say the thing that needs saying, the quiet part, out loud. And sometimes it can be a little bit painful to hear, but I think the intention is good. I truly believe she wants all of us to succeed here, including you. I think she just has seen enough screw-ups, not yours, but in general, to be especially cautious. And if you want to have a chip on your shoulder, use it for something purposeful, meaningful, beneficial, rather than letting it be the thing that makes this place uncomfortable for you. Because really, what's the alternative? Where else are you going to go?
Yeah, well, I'll give it another chance at least. Or at least her another chance. But the other thing that I'm having some, I guess, back and forth qualms about is the fact that she's a Silverfang. Is the fact that she is so passionate about this new nation and wanting to better Garu society. And when I was telling you that story about that individual who wanted to start that new nation, I was talking about Albrecht, not Aspen.
Tricked me there. Aspen has the nature of the Silverfang to lead, to try and see the future, to try and look ahead. And I've dealt with Falcon a couple of times. I can't imagine them being my patron. Like, Unicorn is so much easier to work with than Falcon. And Aspen is the most Silverfang I've ever met. But there are the similarities. There are the consistencies, right? I mean, she wouldn't be if she wasn't. I think that it's reasonable to be biased, especially considering where you come from and how close you were to the Silverfang of Silverfangs and everything that was. I would say, or I'd recommend, look at the person. Don't look at the tribe in this case. She's dealt with a lot, and I don't even know all of it since I've been back. I'm still catching up on everything they've been through for the past couple of years. And I think that it could make anyone harder. It could take a lot of that positivity and hope away, especially in a leadership role. I mean, I'm watching it happen with Delphine in front of my very eyes. It's probably going to be a temporary measure at best, but I think in this time, all we have are temporary measures to keep this going. The nation isn't working. You and I aren't naive. We're dying off more and more by the year. Septs are falling. If the stories are true, 3 of them fell in one fell swoop. I don't know what the best answer is in these situations, but I think anyone who's still willing to try deserves some respect, because it's really easy not to right now. It's really easy to just throw our hands up and say, we're fucked, or to stick with what isn't working because at least it doesn't challenge us to have to do it different or better. And I think that you and I have a really important part to play in this situation of reminding them of the things that were tried, reminding them of what the nation has done before that didn't work, what they're doing now that isn't working. We have information and education that almost nobody in this sept still has, and it's unique between the two of us. I know my sept must have been drastically different than yours. Yours was a kinseeker sept. Mine was a nature sept. So we have two very vast opinions, and I think we do have important seats at the table here. But we have to make sure if we want to get the respect of our voices at the table, we give the respect that it is their table. Because if we tried to do that kind of shit anywhere else in the nation, we'd still be healing, if lucky to be alive. They don't hold fast and hard to the same tenets here, the litany, because it is flawed. Respect your elders. Great. What if your elder is suffering Harana or Hogloss? What if your elder is being swayed by the womb? Are you supposed to just answer to them unconditionally? No, you can't, or else everything's going to go to hell. And respect the youth. You respect them by teaching them. You respect them, but you're going to have to put them in harm's way, because we're all in harm's way all the time, just by existing. And you're going to have to make decisions that they aren't going to like. Like, I can't imagine what the decision was that caused Forge to have to take their kid away. But it was the best decision. Even if it might seem like a disrespect to Forged or to the fact that he's a father or whatever the case may be, that comes from somebody who knows, having been raised in a sept. I think everybody brings something important to the table, and to deafen ourselves to any perspective is to go into a fight ill-equipped. And yes, that even includes stargazers. You don't have to trust them to hear them. You don't have to trust them to take wisdom from them, from their experience. Doesn't mean doing what they say. Eliza's very convincing, but also she knows she's not perfect. She knows she's not right about everything. As far as I could tell, her supposed wisdom got the original Septier killed, or at least contributed to it. And I think she takes that very hard. Takes a lot of responsibility for that. I spent some time with her before I went up to Georgia. That's a whole thing. But I don't deny the fact that her tribe stepped away. But that would be a bias on my part, because she's still here fighting. So, did she step away, or did we just write her off because of who her patron is? Which I'm still trying to figure that out. She won't tell me exactly who that is, but there's someone. I would just say, in situations like this, observe, take notes, and use that information for what we're here for, the fight, whatever form that takes. And I think that you will get the respect you are owed, because this place doesn't disrespect people when they've had plenty of cause to. I mean, that whole pack you're running with, as far as I know, they were a shit show when they arrived here. Absolute shit show. Anywhere else in the nation, most of them would be dead by now. But they're here, and they're actually doing pretty good. They're opening up a cairn. They turned a Fomori back to a person. Like, that's not even possible as far as I knew. So maybe there's something to it, but we need to be here reminding them of where this fight has been and what was wrong about that, and how the people who tried to do something different ended up being the Cult of Fenris, ended up being the inactive stargazers of the world, and that we have to caution them against falling into that pit, to remind them about what the important parts of the litany are and why they exist, even if they need to be slightly adjusted or altered. I guess I'd rather be in front of change than forgotten and fallen behind. And I haven't been at this very long. You are way more knowledgeable and older than me. I am literally a guru of 16, 18 months at this point. So I still look to you for wisdom in a lot of ways, especially when it comes to our tribe. Be patient. That's all I can ask. Just be patient. Give them the benefit of the doubt. And if we're wrong, we leave. Because they won't force us to stay.
Thanks. I appreciate your wisdom in this and listening to me about my qualms about this place.
Anytime. Seriously, anytime. You want to talk, you want to vent, I get it. It was very overwhelming coming into this life. It was very overwhelming coming into this place. But I wouldn't be half the guru I am if it wasn't for them. And I didn't even spend that much time with them. But I was so open to the possibilities, to learning, to trying, that I'm still here to tell the tale. That I still was able to survive in the nation, having known nothing, almost next to nothing going up there. And I came back for a reason, because this place deserves loyalty. It's worthy of loyalty. But yeah, you can talk to me anytime about any of the issues you have here, and I'm not going to go running off tattling. Snitches get stitches. I was raised that way.
Good job. Speaking of loyalties, do you know who's been telling Willow that I've been babying her?
I don't know if anyone's been telling her. I think she's just been getting a vibe. And I think that's partially in response to how they behave. When they act like a puppy but demand not to be treated like a puppy, they're in their teenage years, their infancy of this guru alteration. And it's very easy to be temperamental. I mean, we always have to keep that rage in balance, and that takes time and learning and practice, but I don't think anyone's been telling her she's babied. I think they are making assumptions based off of what they see, and maybe even continuing that process, which is causing her to build up that resentment about it. But like, she is a baby. I'm a baby. We're still learning this, but we have to grow up really fucking quick, because the fight won't wait for us to be ready. It won't wait for us to be mature. We just have to do it. So yeah, I don't think anybody says you're babying her. I think she is just being treated in the way people think that she's supposed to be treated, and that's frustrating. Because this is the first sept she's been in. This is the first, experience, the first taste of sept life. And everyone does see her as naive. And I don't think that's because of what you've taught. I think that's because she literally has no experience other than walking here with you, the few months she spent with you, where it seems like most of that was spent traveling or staying away from problems. And now this is the thick of it. And if she's not ready for it, I mean, she didn't even want to fight at first. That's a quick road to death. And so I think people are worried, concerned, but I don't think it's your teachings that they're concerned about. I think it's more that this could be a problem. She could be a liability, or she could be the next guru that has to get buried.
Well, that's not what Aspen and Stakes said, so I don't know about that.
I don't know either. I only know what I've seen.
All right, well, I appreciate that. I guess I'll just have to have another conversation with Willow.
I think, just like you want to be respected for everything that you've done, we can't deny whatever respect it is she deserves, because from the sounds of it, it wasn't great how her life started, and to have survived that, let alone survive that, become a guru, and survive these past several months, that's an accomplishment worthy of respect. And if she really wants to learn, and it seems like she does, she is a very eager student. I know she's met with Izzy. I know I've been working with her on the staff training. She wants to learn, so maybe it's time to buckle down and continue to be her kinseeker and put her through the difficult stuff. And if you're viewed as mean, then you're probably doing the right job.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Terrance.
I'm here for you. We're a tribe. We got to stick together. I'm surprised how many of us there are down here. But that's a good thing. It means that we'll make sure that Unicorn's ideals and visions, our tribe's ideals and visions, aren't forgotten in the creation of this nation, because when the last one was created, it was primarily Silverfang input. Let's make sure that doesn't happen again.
I agree.
You continue your walk. Terrance snaps a few more pictures, and then he stops near the castle and seems to take an intense interest of snapping photos of the castle. Not just pretty stylistic photos of building, but all of the doors that lead to the outside, all of the windows that have access. And he's doing a really good job of making it seem like, oh, pretty building, or oh, I'm taking some black and white artsy fartsy photos. But you can tell he's running surveillance. And as the castle is one of the marked buildings in the area, the closest marked known building to the cairn that you were trying to build, he is taking an intense interest in it. But as you continue your patrol, making small talk from time to time, what's going through your mind?
Quinn is starting to rethink the thoughts he was feeling about the Sept again, going more towards accepting the Sept a little bit more again, getting towards that point of almost feeling like a home for him. The only real aspect of it is Aspen and how he feels disrespected by her still, but he'll see about working through that. He's concerned that his relationship with Willow has broken to a point he's not sure, but if he has to buckle down and be a better kinseeker, then he will.
Connections are difficult. They're not always fun. They're not always joyful. The connection between a leader and their followers can feel strained. It can almost feel overbearing at times. The connection between a teacher and a student doesn't always work out for the better, especially if there are outside circumstances making it even more difficult to solidify that connection. But as long as you don't give up trying, as long as you see the value of any given connection, you can adjust course. You can change your methodology or your strategy for how to deal with it, and who knows, maybe even try something new. We now move on to our final scene of the evening, where a Phyllodox looks for some guidance, information, maybe even insight in how to deal with a growing rash on their arm. Our final scene of tonight's story takes us back to where our story began. The cairn. The cairn in all of its rich and full nature ever since the return of Turtle. Its bountiful secrets slowly being unlocked one after another. Long forgotten knowledge and power buried within that rocky outcropping that makes up the new heart of the cairn. For the two elders who have called this cairn their home since it came into being, the shift has been much more noticeable. Seeing spirits openly walking about, no longer confined into their tree-like prisons where they stand sentry. It almost feels like the developing of a native village, just with how they interact with one another, as if life, consciousness, heart has been returned where there was none for the longest of times. Even Turtle can be seen in his spiritual form rising out of the stony outcropping to gaze about, to interact, even confer with some of the spirits as they approach before settling back down into his place. But your thoughts aren't on that anymore, are they? Since returning from the dreaming, you were confronted almost immediately with a host of problems that popped up in your absence, even if it was just a short absence. The death of a sept member, the death of a sister, a ghoul in confinement not that far from here. And then the looming threat that is Iron Oath, and a promise to be upheld. Needless to say, it's easy to be distracted, what with all of these other issues. But one thing that the leadership of this particular sept can pride itself on is an ability to redirect that focus to the immediate, to what's happening now. Letting those problems still hover and exist and definitely take up a space in your mind, but to focus on a concern. And that concerned party takes the shape of one Raymond Gorn. The clock's been ticking, Raymond, to deal with the issues that were brought into being through your input. One of them has been dealt with and is actually doing very well. Jordan continuing to hang out with you, whether it's just bullshitting and catching up on old war stories or not talking at all and just sharing space together. But the other one, that nasty little itch on your arm, you found yourself subconsciously scratching at it from time to time when you don't pay enough attention or don't block it out well enough, to the point that a red rash has started to appear on the outskirts of the scar on your arm. It seems to really be picking at you during your bane tending exercises, when you're at most in direct contact with the worm. But it doesn't stop there, because then there are the dreams. The dreams of erosion, decay, hopelessness, emptiness, a longing for a light you can't quite reach, as if you're being pulled further and further away from it. When you wake from these dreams, you find that you've almost scratched yourself bloody, as if trying to dig out the scar from your very flesh. But as Guru have come to learn, they can heal from pretty much anything, as long as it isn't silver or fire. So the wounds seal, the scar remains. something that needs to be dealt with, but how? For a pact was struck. They can't help you this. They can't interfere. But who's to say answering a few questions, giving a little bit of history, insight, backstory, since the name Hashugut seems very familiar, and Aspen, when talking with them, seemed very knowledgeable to some degree about what and who they were dealing with. And if things are going the way they seem to be going, the threat of the cult of Fenris at your door reaches anywhere at any given time, and whatever machinations they have, the building of a cairn, yeah, you're not leader anymore. Technically, those aren't directly your problems. But you can take the title off of a leader, but you can't take the leader out of them. And in a way, you feel a responsibility regardless of what happens. Maybe even a debt still. Even though things have been made right with Jordan, even though it wasn't your call to send Forged and Juniper up to Michigan, you were supposed to be there, and you weren't. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Heavier still is that head when the crown is gone. The scene is yours.
Ray's walking up to the table, which he assumes Aspen and Jester are sitting at, because that is where they always are when a meeting is called. Subconsciously, again, he is scratching at his arm, and when he catches himself, he'll stop and kind of pull his shirt down on both his arms to kind of hide what he was doing. As he approaches, he will nod to each of them and wait to be allowed to fully approach the table and take a seat.
Aspen will just smile and nod her head at the seat and look over to Jester.
Jester will smile at Ray. How have you been?
I've been okay. A little restless, but, you know, dealing with the new cairn and getting stuff off my chest with Jordan and dealing with that, and then the training with Liza. There's a lot going on and just a little tired.
She'll give him an empathetic nod. Yeah, there's a lot going on. It doesn't ever seem to end, so.
How is training going?
Training's going pretty good. Last week I had my first real official test with binding a Bane, and I was able to complete it, and as far as I'm aware, that Bane's going to be bound for about a year. So it was either a really weak Bane or I did a really good job, and I don't know which of the two I want to take credit for.
A little bit of both. I mean, I'd take a win where you can get a win.
I'd say both.
Exactly. Yeah. At that point, Ray will walk up and take a seat at the table.
So, you had questions, correct?
Yes. I had some questions and then a couple other things that, as I was planning on what to talk about, kind of popped in my head. But mainly the questions. I haven't really been putting this off. It's been, like I said, very busy. But this has been, you know, something I've been thinking about for a bit, but I want to know more about Hashugut, about what, he is and what kind of spirit he is, because I made a deal with him, and per your deal that you made with him, he's kind of stuck with me until I can find a way to not go against what was made.
See Aspen roll her eyes as soon as you say Hashugut, but lean in and kind of rub the side of her nose.
Jester will just side-eye Aspen for a moment before turning her attention back to Ray. But she'll say to, you want to go first?
Sure, I could give some of the gist of it. And so Hashugut is a worm spirit that was attached to our old packmate Lucas, and I wouldn't say, and she kind of squints her eyes and looks over at Jester, I wouldn't say it had control over him, but it definitely felt like there was influence there. Of what nature, I'm not completely sure. But when we opened all of this, and she'll look around at the cairn, there was concerns of him fully committing to all of this with an enigma attached to him that he wasn't willing to speak about, that he wasn't willing to give a lot of information on. So I gave him the choice of not fully committing and figuring out his situation with the spirit, or committing and just owning, if you will, what connection he had with Hashugut. And when he fully committed, the spirit disappeared.
As far as I understand from what Lucas and Eliza told me about Hashugut, he was a worm spirit, like a pure worm spirit, not a bane. His connection with Lucas managed to keep him from being corrupted by the sickness that most banes and the worm itself has. But on the other hand, it also blocked Lucas's connection from his own patron spirit. They had this symbiotic, I suppose, relationship that, yeah, Hashugut influenced him, but from what I understood, he influenced Hashugut as well. And Lucas felt like they were friends, like he was his first friend, and was really close to him. And when we did open the cairn and commit ourselves to it, the spirits here did not want a worm spirit, so they separated them. We honestly did a rite to try to summon Hashugut after that for Lucas, but we never were able to, and so we thought he was dead, like returned to the spirit wilds. I don't know what sort of spirit he is now.
I mean, I can't really say what kind of spirit he is now. I know he takes on the image of a serpent-like creature. I don't know what specific spirit or aspect of the worm, other than decay. It's the only thing I can kind of get, the only thing I could really get from the interactions I've had. But I can confirm what you said about the slight disconnect from the patron because every time I try to use gifts that were given to me by Horn Serpent, it takes a little bit more effort to do.
And your connection with it on a more physical aspect, has it felt wrong? Has it, other than, she kind of like looks down at your sleeve, has it done anything to you?
Other than being insanely itchy all the time, I haven't noticed any like physical changes that this mark or this connection has caused. Recently I've had dreams, which have been a little weird. Dreams of, decay, hopelessness, emptiness, reaching for a light I can't reach. I didn't know if that was something just for everything that was happening with me recently. With the Jordan situation and, losing Sean and all this pent-up emotion that I was feeling. I kind of chalked it up to that, but now that all of that has been kind of dealt with and those things have been handled in one way, shape, or form, the dreams haven't gone away. So maybe this connection is doing that.
Storyteller, Kent, based off of what he said about specifically the hopelessness and trying to reach for a light that he can't reach, could myself and or Jester kind of make the correlation that that's not just worm spirit of decay, but us knowing a little bit about black spirals now at this point seems a little bit more on the corruption side of things?
Well, it depends, because decay, hopelessness, these are all elements of the worm. They existed. The problem was that they got sick. They got way too profound, too strong. And strong, in fact, to the point that they were being forced on people rather than those people being susceptible to it naturally. There wasn't any mention of spirals specifically, so it's hard to say for a fact whether there is any spiral influence there, but the elements of the worm are stronger than they ever were with Lucas, it seemed. And maybe, but it's hard to say without experiencing it or seeing it for sure. Based off of this description, there could be signs of corruption, yes.
Okay, because from what we've been told, like the decay, that kind of stuff is normal worm, but the hopelessness, those kind of feelings that it does is more bane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the other possibility or connection that could be made is that he's got a worm scar on his arm. Maybe that's drawing Banes.
Okay. She'll look over to Jester, almost like she's calculating something in her brain. The hopeless part of it is concerning. I wonder if there's something stronger happening there now.
Possibly. When Lucas didn't talk about it much, but he never really mentioned having hopelessness or things with Hashugut. I mean, he mentioned, Hashugut wanting him to go take him to places where it could feed and get bigger, but not like hopelessness or anything like that.
These dreams are relatively new. This isn't something that has happened since I've had the scar. So I don't really know if it's 100% like corruption, or if it's just, like I said, my emotions being brought to the surface more about what I've dealt with and what I've experienced, and those emotions as being more strongly felt.
Could be, but still, having dreams like that is concerning, because the more those thoughts and feelings are swirling in your head, the more likelihood that Banes will not be far behind.
The more you feel like those without dealing with it in one way or another, the more they're attracted to it.
I understand. But I mean, I've been dealing with those emotions. I mean, the hopelessness I felt with when I actually saved Jordan and thought that all he thought of me was a monster and he wanted nothing to do with me. And that even though I saved my best friend, I lost my best friend. That feeling is gone. You know, we're actually connecting and getting better as friends. So, I don't know.
Raymond, roll me an intelligence and insight check.
Okay. What's my rage at?
Say a 1. I mean, unless you have any reason to be particularly riled up being near the leaders.
Just wanted to check, you know?
Yeah.
I got a really good roll. I got a 7 with a crit.
Okay. As you start to unpack that feeling that you got off of the dream, the hopelessness felt very intimate, but also very foreign. It wasn't reminiscent of any kind of hopelessness you had felt. In fact, there was no connection directly to you at all. You had a hopeless feeling of being trapped. A hopeless feeling of being bound and tied down within yourself. In fact, you can recall screams in one of the dreams. Screams to be let out. Screams to be freed. Screams of a man.
Sitting there kind of contemplating that and kind of staring off a little bit into space and then shaking my head. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if that hopelessness feeling was really my own. I felt it strongly, but it didn't feel like hopelessness attached to what I was dealing with. Felt like I was feeling someone else's hopelessness.
Since you rolled 7 successes with a crit on that insight check, you recognize the voice. It was Matthias.
I'll put my hand up to my head. Yeah, no, it was definitely someone, and I only met him once, but I recognized the voice. It was Matthias's voice.
Jester will shake her head for a moment, quickly look to Aspen and then be like, look back. What?
Wait, Aspen. Remember what Hashugut said when we were talking with him in the swamp? Remember, he said he made 2 friends. One was me.
Aspen's mouth is just open, and her brows are crinkled so close together you could see the lines in her face that are not usually there. And she's just staring at you, Ray.
I'm not even going to make you roll for this, Aspen. As you think about the past several encounters you've had with Matthias, something's always felt a little off. All the furniture in his hotel room being replaced, his almost flippancy when it came to matters of the Guru, unexpected guests left and right, and not giving you any kind of heads up or warning that, hey, there's someone new in town, or hey, you should know about this. That wasn't very Matthias, but now he is also the black sheep of the Silver Fang, so he does things in his own time, in his own way. But he has definitely been a lot more withholding, a lot more detached from everything, whereas before, as a mentor, he was involved in some way or another, interested, invested. And he hasn't been to the cairn once since it was opened.
Son of a bitch.
For a moment, Jester will just put her hands in her face, and you could hear just this laugh. That does sound very strained. And then she'll be like, "Of course, something fucking else."
What is your plan with all of it, Raymond?
I mean, that's what I guess I wanted to talk to you guys and get answers about him, so that way I could solidify a plan. I've had thoughts on what to do and how to progress this. But I mean, if it seems like maybe he's actually corrupted in some way. And if he's doing stuff like this to an Elder Silverfang, I mean, that changes my thought process and what to do now.
It's obviously very problematic. Can't just stick around, and if things were different, I would almost feel bad saying that, but in the last 5 seconds, I think my feelings have changed.
You think back, both of you, Raymond and Aspen, to how vitriolic, vindictive Hashugut was, how angry he was at you for what you did, taking him away from Lucas, forcing him out. It would only make sense if you took something from him, he would take something from you. Now makes the deal that much more complicated, because it's your mentor and you can't help.
Something has to be done, Raymond. It's not just affecting you at this point.
No, you're right. Which, according to the deal, you guys can't help get it out of me. But, I mean, that doesn't stop you from helping Matthias, right?
I said I wouldn't intervene. She looks at Jester.
A look between the two of them. What was the exact deal?
if I remember correctly, the deal that Aspen made was that no one in the Sept will help me get rid of Hashugut's mark. And I'm pretty sure Hashugut specifically only named me in that deal.
I mean, if he only named Ray, you could help Matthias, but it would probably send Hashugut to Ray.
That, and I said I wouldn't intervene. Wouldn't intervene in what Hashugut was doing.
That's
I
the
used
knowledge. Go ahead.
I used that to get the information so Raymond would have more information. You know how spirits works, and she kind of throws her hands up, frustrated because her last interaction with a spirit was frustrating as well. You know how spirits work, and so you have to give something to get something, and that's how it all goes. And I was hoping he'd get some information, and we did. We got information, but I was hoping that maybe this would give Ray the opportunity to have his own thoughts and feelings and opinions on what to do about Hashugut without others interfering. But now that it's complicated.
Did you say you only? Because I understand the Sept can't help Ray in dealing with Hashugut for himself. And you said you couldn't intervene. Did you say the whole Sept couldn't intervene? Like in
Yep.
anything he did?
Yep. It was also an attempt to make good with a spirit that I snubbed because I have a history of that. But yeah, no, that was the deal. The Sept won't intervene.
As this information continues to sink in, you remember your last encounter with Hashugut Swamp, where the deal was struck. They weren't a serpent. They took the form of a man, but you could only see his eyes. But now as you focus in, pinpoint that situation, the frame, the build, the height, it all lines up.
Ray, you should talk to Anna, Eyes of the Sun. She's a ghost council and she's not officially part of the Sept. You should tell her what you know. That's my advice.
I was thinking about it because, Ghost Council, we deal with a lot of spirits, especially the worm, from what I'm told. I haven't interacted with her before, and I was trying to find a time to get an introduction. My thought was also, because I know Artie told me about the Sept of Ghost Councils up north, I was going to try to get in contact with them, and if they were willing to help me out, and then I can maybe learn a few things from them while they were helping me. That was kind of my thought process too, but yeah, I'll go talk to Anna.
You can put the Ghost Council, that's the one in West Virginia, right?
Yes.
Okay. You could put in my name. I've had recent connection with them. Good. So.
Aspen looks at Jester and looks down at the table. If they'd be willing to come here and help. We can't have you leaving right now.
That's fair. I know there's a lot going on, especially with, with our thing with the Cairn, but, with the Cult of Fenris, I know that's a very volatile situation right now.
There's a strong possibility that some of the elders will be gone for a bit. And she'll look at Jester again.
Jester will nod. In West Virginia, there is a steerage named Trillium there.
Is that
She
who you
might-
have the connection to?
A few. There are a few others, but they're elders. But she might be willing to either come or at least send someone that she knows can help.
Is that someone that Anna can help me get in contact with as well? Or am I going to have to make contacts?
Possibly.
You also have that phone number, Jester. It's a landline phone in the mountains of Virginia. So how reliable it's going to be is questionable since they didn't have any cell phones up there, but it is a direct line.
Hold on. She'll pull out her phone and then pull up the phone number and take out her little notebook and like write it down and rip it off and pass it over to Ray. This is the phone number I have for that sept.
Reach across the table and take the piece of paper and look at the phone number and nod and put it into my breast pocket.
Aspen will hold her hand out to grab the paper again to put Anna's number on it.
Reach
Here's
out and hand it to you.
Here's Anna's number. Also, you can come by the firm anytime.
Of course, thank you. Put the piece of paper back.
Honestly wish we could be more of help for this.
I mean, you were plenty of help. I mean, I learned a little bit more about him, and talking with you both, you know, helped me realize something that, you know, a problem that needs to be dealt with that not only affects me, but someone else. So that's a good thing. But you said some of the elders are going to be gone. How long are you guys going to be gone for?
We don't know.
I'm unsure.
We don't even know if it's a certain yes at this point. But within the next few weeks, we'll have a definite answer on whether or not we will be going, but I'm not sure on if we will have for how long.
Who all would be going?
Aspen kind of rocks in her chair for a moment and taps on the table and side eyes Jester again. There's a strong potential that we're going to be going. It would be myself, Jester, and Charles, if it were the case.
Yeah, that's it's gonna hopefully not lead to anything bad happening here. Because I mean, you guys left for a week last time, and we were pretty lucky from what I was aware. But Charles was here, and with Charles being gone, I know it's gonna leave a pretty big hole. Not discounting you two, you know, you guys are great, but you know, Charles the Wormfoe. Charles is like the muscle.
Well, we have another Rarun who's joined us recently. So he can definitely step up, I think.
Speaking of elders, though, sorry. I had a small concern. Last week during my trial with Eliza, she, at the end of our test and our conversation, she started to speak a little, I don't know, foreboding, like she was showing me something that in case of her death, it would need to be distributed or shown or, kept safe. And the way she talked and the way that she was presenting it, like it wasn't just a teacher showing a student something of like passing down knowledge. This was like a putting your ducks in a row before something happens. Like she was walking towards that fate already.
Jester will stare off into the distance, the annoyed and concerned look on her face. Just shake her head. She's along with the cult of Fenris, someone recently that she knows from the past has come in, and it has her conflicted on things. She's not completely opening up about all of that either. So
yeah, I tried talking with her a little bit and trying to get something out of her, but she was pretty closed off.
Aspen will take in a deep breath, thinking about the dreaming and all of the things she said there as well. She's definitely been foreboding. Absolutely. I'll speak with her soon.
I'm just worried because, I know she's up there, for a Geru, but this was talk that was different than just the wise words of an elder. It was more concerning in my eyes.
you're not the only one that's concerned.
All of that aside, everything going on right now aside, you need to make this your top priority, Ray. Figuring this out, how to get rid of it, is your top priority.
After this conversation, I was planning on making it my top priority anyway, but with what has come to light now, definitely moving up way above everything else. I'll definitely immediately talk to Anna and try to figure something out and try to call that number that you gave me, Jester, and try to get in contact with them. Try to go down both avenues to see if I can get something.
And I know I have biases in this, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get it figured out. But I also understand that being around your potential new cairn puts you and everyone else in danger. And I just want to make sure you guys are safe with that as well.
I know Delphine has talked to me about all of that as well, and that's why I made that deal originally with her to deal with this as quickly as I could. Unfortunately, with all the things happening, it has taken the back burner, but not anymore. I'll be sure to deal with this as quickly as possible.
We've talked a lot about connections tonight, how they're formed, how they can grow, how they can change. But sometimes connections are forced upon us, especially in the life of Guru. Whether it's the connection between a worm spirit and a Guru who took a deal they didn't quite know the extent of. Sometimes the cracks in these connections allow important information to bleed out. Long has been the question, who is the other friend? Who was Hashugut referring to? Now you have an answer. Unfortunately, it makes things so much more complicated. This is where our story comes to a close this evening, but not without one last scene. Our final scene takes us to an RV campsite way, way, way outside of Tampa. Rook of the Iron Bells, in his jean jacket, his snarling, almost feral look. The Red Talon has been spending some time with the Cult of Fenris lately, looking to get some aid as to the little problem he's been pursuing all the way down from Vermont. Question is, where to go? Because the last time the Cult of Fenris was in town, the Sept had a very different home. So they find themselves wondering, watching, lurking, searching. As Rook of the Iron Bells stands by the road, the entryway into the RV park, he's expectant and a little irritated to be kept waiting. Lucky for him, he didn't have to wait for long. As a luxury town car pulls up to the RV park, the window rolls down. Matthias Morningkill, wearing sunglasses, peeks over the edge of the sunglasses. I believe you're looking for this. And he holds out a folded up piece of paper. As Rook snatches the piece of paper and unfolds it, we see the printout of Google Maps. We see a red circle drawn around Hillsborough State Park with arrows pointing to it. I think you'll find what you're looking for there, or at least the start. Good hunting. And he pushes the sunglasses back up, and the car pulls away. Rook stares at the paper, and if he could shoot lasers out of his eyes, they'd burn a hole in that circle, in that spot. His then already menacing look grows even more menacing as he spreads his lips open in a snarl, sharpened, pointed teeth ever apparent, hungry for vengeance. This is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to these amazing players. Thank you to our guests, Snorri and Champ, for joining us this evening. We have a whole lot of programs ahead. We've got a new episode of Red Tide Rising on Sunday. We've got a new episode of Rage on Tuesday. We'll be back here with another episode of Hellhounds next Friday. If you haven't signed up for a Ko-fi membership yet, you should go and do that for as low as $5 a month. You get access to all kinds of behind the scenes material, and you can get all that plus much more. So go sign up for a Ko-fi membership. It really supports this channel, this program, and our community, and we really appreciate it. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.